Tonight on the House of Tiny Tearaways.
So do you feel that she almost died because of you?
It's a thought that's gone through my head. Definitely.
It's not your fault. It's not your fault. I have to say that to you so clearly.
The families are waking up to their first morning in the house, which means that observation day is over. It's now time for Tanya to get more hands-on with their problems. Hold on to your seats, because the treatment is about to begin. The Bunyans, the McArdles and the Fletchers arrived yesterday, desperate for Dr. Tanya Byron to help them with their children's extreme behaviour problems. With just 5 days left, all the families are hoping Tanya can turn their lives around in the House of Tiny Tearaways.
Oh, Thomas.
It's just before 7 and the McArdles are first up.
Oh, the joy.
The McArdle family have come into the house because they need help with their 2.5-year-old son, Matthew. They say he wants to control what he does, what he eats, and when and where he sleeps. Last night, Matthew woke up a total of 43 times, wanting to get into bed with Mum and Dad. Angela and Mark took it upon themselves to put him back each time he got up.
Mummy, Daddy, Daddy.
This morning, 2.5-year-old Matthew woke up in his bed for the first time ever.
Still absolutely knackered to do them.
Well, no, I mean, you can say that wasn't too bad, but...
But, I mean, the bad thing for him is just that he's not getting a night's sleep.
That's him up 5 times, between 8 and 6.
How
about we raspberry in your Weetabix?
Take it out.
You not like it? Oh, okay. Okay, just leave it. No, just leave it.
Maybe you shouldn't say negative comments like you not like it. You should say it's nice, isn't it?
No, I'm not take. Got some.
Morning.
It's now 8:30 and Charlie Fletcher's just got out of bed, nearly 2 hours after the McArdles. He's still recovering from chickenpox.
Morning.
Oh, I think those spots are clearing up more and more every time I see you.
Yeah.
Feeling better, ain't you, mate?
They're looking better, aren't they?
Yeah.
3.5-year-old Charlie has selective mutism. He rarely speaks to anyone except his parents and younger sister Madison. At nursery, he never says a word to friends or teachers. Parents Emma and Jamie are desperate to understand the problem and to learn how they can help him talk again. Yesterday, Charlie communicated beautifully with his parents.
I didn't hear ya.
This is Emma.
But was quiet with the other people in the house.
I'll get you dressed in a minute. I am.
It's Monday, it's the first day of treatment. The Fletchers have come into the house because their older son, Charlie, who's 3.5, has selective mutism. What have you learned so far?
He's getting more comfortable in the house as the day goes on. I'm wondering whether Charlie will feel comfortable enough to say something to Matthew along the more, throw, here, in there. Yeah. Exactly. So I'm just having a little listen.
That was to Thomas, was it? I saw that was lovely. Yay!
You see what we're doing here, Claude? We're peering at him and waiting for him to say something. This is what his life is like. Because everybody is so anxious, every adult around him is so anxious about the way he doesn't speak. Now imagine if we were not doing this to him on a screen, if we were doing this to him, to his face. Yeah. Would that make him want to talk?
No.
No. Absolutely.
So what are your plans then when you think about Charlie Fletcher for the week?
Well, with Charlie, it's about his parents learning new techniques with me, on their own with Charlie, but also within the house with Charlie, to give them an experience that could then replicate how life will be for them when they go home. So long as his parents are within his radius and he can make eye contact with them, he's happy to speak in a public forum. He's perfectly comfortable socially interacting with the children, but he has no confidence in hearing his own voice in this setting.
No, that's legs.
I love Emily
I
Bunyan.
love Emily.
What's going on here? Notice how children, when they play together and talk to each other, they tend not to do the big full-on eye contact.
Yeah.
So there's an awful lot of next to each other playing and chat, chat, chat.
Well, you haven't been really talking for a long time, have you? Are you liking talking? Do you like talking? Doesn't matter. I can fix it.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
The McArdle family are in the lounge. Son Matthew is playing with Rosie Bunyan.
Good, but, you know, you sort of blame yourself, don't you? Rather a lot for...
Definitely.
And a lot of it is,
Yeah.
I feel, being
And the other one.
is given
Hey,
us a bit...
hey.
Matthew.
Matthew, stop that.
Right, take him away.
Stop that. Matthew, stop it. Stop grabbing things.
Rosie, that's it. Pop it down, darling. You can both play, can't you?
Matthew, if you do that one more time, you're going to the room. That's it. Okay, come with me.
Look,
Say sorry, say sorry, say sorry.
down me,
Okay, come with
please.
me then.
That's it, look.
Into your room.
There's so many bricks. Such a shame.
No, what?
It really is a shame.
You've been bad. Will you say sorry to Rosie? Will you say sorry to Rosie? Will you? No, I'll give you 2 minutes in here then. Bye. Hi, Rosie. Is that Matthew's monkey? Oh, thank you. Matthew's going to say sorry to you, okay? Right. Matthew, will you say sorry to Rosie? Will you say sorry to Rosie? Just say sorry. Say sorry. Come on, Matthew, say sorry or you get 2 more minutes in the room. Say sorry to Rosie, please, or you'll go back in the room. You want to go back in the room? Okay, back in the room then.
Daddy.
Back in the room. Do you want to say sorry? Do you want to say sorry? No, you can take it away, it's fine.
Sure.
She just happened to be here and I was saying, well, do you want to say sorry to her
Can I get in?
This is the second 2 minutes.
Can I get in?
Don't look at them, don't look at them. Matthew, come here. Matthew, come here. Come here, come here. Are you going to say sorry to Rosie? Will you say sorry to her? Yeah. OK, come with me then. You just got to say sorry for grabbing the Lego. No, Matthew, will you say sorry? Just say sorry. Say sorry to Rosie. You go back in your room for 2 minutes if you don't say sorry.
Then we can sit down together and play with some bricks.
Say sorry then.
Good plan.
Huh? Just say sorry. No, say sorry or you go back in your room. Say sorry.
Good plan, Batman.
Come on.
Gappy tooth.
Matthew, say sorry to Rosie. Do you want to go back in your room? Don't take you back in your room. Well, say sorry then. Oh, that was
I'm sure that was it. I'm sure that was it.
Very, very quiet. Very quiet. Now play nicely.
Look at all of this stuff.
Rosie and Emily Bunyan are being looked after by the other families, while Lisa and Pete join Tanya in the consultation room. The Bunyans' 2.5-year-old daughter, Rosie, will only eat sweet foods.
Try a little bit for me.
She's so fussy when it comes to eating that mealtimes are a nightmare.
Just try a little bit.
Yesterday, Tanya encouraged parents Lisa and Pete to try Rosie on different foods to see just how much resistance she puts up.
Tiny bits. Okay. Pretty good.
It's quite interesting because what seems to be happening in the house this week is that we've started working really before we've had a chance to really talk about the issues. And I think it's fair to say you have got a pretty major feeding problem with your youngest daughter, Rosie.
Yeah, since weaning, really, 6 months.
But kids are amazing, aren't they? And particularly, you've got a very bright girl there. They often pick things up, not that they've heard, but also that they've sensed that is around. Sure. I mean, my feeling is that there is a huge story about Rosie and Rosie's life that is intrinsically linked to Rosie's eating. I mean, to the point that just me saying that already fills you up and makes you feel just distraught.
I just didn't feel that we had a particularly good start with Rosie. My bonding with her was nil.
Tell me why you do say that.
The second that your child is born, you forget everything that you've been through, and that was so the truth with Emily. With Rosie, it was just such a shock to have a fantastic pregnancy, the easiest of labours, and it was all wonderful until about an hour and a half before she was born.
And then what happened?
They broke my waters, and it was very apparent that Rosie was in distress. The cord had come down first in front of Rosie's head, and it got itself wrapped around very tightly, and when she came out, the midwife sort of held her head back up, cut the cord, she cut her hand. It was all very, very tense, wasn't it?
And lots of blood.
Yes. And I watched them take her away from me to a table where they had to resuscitate her because she wasn't breathing. And then they successfully resuscitated Rosie, and I let them dress her and bring her to me, and I just couldn't touch her. I think within seconds in my head, what am I going to tell everyone? They know I've come in today. I'm going to have to tell people she's died. And she wasn't, and they brought her back, and I just couldn't touch her. And then they sent you home, and she was next to me, and she slept for a few hours, and sort of looking at her and thinking, really not sure what I'm going to do with you. And I suppose about 3 or 4 in the morning she started to cry, and the midwife said, look, I think that you need to feed her. And I thought, right, really don't want to do this. So I didn't feed her, I just picked her up and sat her on my knee, and we had a chat. And
what did you say to her?
I explained to her that Mummy just felt really guilty. That I do love her. But it was out of my hands. When it came to the crunch, I didn't pull through.
It was your fault that she was born like that?
I don't think it was my fault, but I think it was my job to get her here safe, and I didn't do that.
And so do you feel that she almost died because of you?
It's a thought that's gone through my head. Definitely.
That's a huge thing to carry around. That must have broken your heart into pieces. Did you see Rosie come out? Which end were you? So you were down at the end where it was all happening?
Yeah.
So what did you see when she came out?
She was almost sort of normal baby being first born colour, with a sort of, it's like a lilac-y sort of purpley colour, isn't it? Mm. But then she never sort of changed to that colour. It just went to a greyer, and she was lifeless. You know, she came out and she was completely lifeless. It was awful.
Did you think that she was dead?
Yeah.
At what point did you think that your baby was dead?
When she had the cord around the neck, probably.
So that must have been horrific for you.
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
So you've had a traumatic experience that has lived with you ever since the moment it happened. Have you found over the last 2.5 years that you've had periods of reliving the experience? Have you ever had flashbacks? Have you ever had kind of moments where, you know, maybe when you're going to sleep or when you are asleep or during the day when you'll hear something and it'll just bring an image into your head?
You do go over all sorts of things, and yes, I would be lying if I said I hadn't thought about it, because I have.
Do you have the same kind of experience?
Yeah, I see the cord around the head. The main things is if I see something, like if I was in this room and I saw a colour that was close to the colour of Rosie, then that might trigger it.
All right. I think that you had a birth experience that has left you both with a condition called post-traumatic stress disorder, but in quite different ways, which is why as a couple it's been very difficult for you to help each other through this, because both of you are in the same emotional space, which is a very painful emotional space to be, but you seem to hold all the emotion.
Pete doesn't talk.
And Pete says nothing. Now, post-traumatic stress disorder is a condition that basically it describes a situation when we have an event in our life that throws us into shock, completely into shock. Particularly an event you previously had a birth experience which had been blissful, perfect, beautiful. So your expectation was way up there, as it should be.
Right.
And then you have this experience where you are literally looking at a child saying, my child is dead. You go into an emotional and psychological state where you shut down. You're then handed a child who looks dead and told to bond with it and welcome it into the world, and you're closed off and you're in shock. So you feel unable to do that. You eventually do bond with Rosie. I have to say, you both have a great bond with Rosie. I can't see any problem there at all. But that period of time now is so etched in your memory that you both have spent the last 2.5 years replaying moments. My feeling is because of this unresolved reaction to a truly traumatic and horrific experience that you both had at the beginning of Rosie's life. And because feeding is the most primitive and the first action that as a parent, as in this case as a mother, you can do, I think in every other way in Rosie's life, developmentally, she's spot on because you're great parents. But in feeding, you have kept her regressed as a tiny little baby who can only have sweet things. It's almost as if you've continued to breastfeed her. And I think Rosie's feeding represents the point in time in feeding where your trauma was, which was at the beginning, at the breast.
Maybe.
Now, in order for her to move on from these foods, it's going to be a massive battle of wills. So I feel there's two separate issues this week. There's working through Rosie's birth story and saying goodbye to what happened and saying hello to Rosie now. And at the same time, as you're feeling more relaxed about the feeding, there's getting the feeding on track. But emotionally, I think it's going to be really tough.
And I'm ready, because that's all I've said all along.
We were expecting it to be quite an emotional week, weren't we?
Absolutely. She's worth it. She's worth the time. She's worth the effort.
We're here for one reason.
She's worth it. I just want to let go. I want to say goodbye.
So I'm going to give you both just a book and a pen each for you to start to write the story as you remember it. Symbolically, what I'm going to ask you to think about is at the end of the week, you then can make a choice about what you want to do with this story. You can leave it with me and trust that I'll look after it. You can take it home but have it in a small book on a shelf that then you look at when you both need to together. Or we can burn it in the garden. It's entirely up to you, but however symbolically you want to close the chapter and move on emotionally, then this can be our sort of symbolic way of doing it.
Does it for me?
If it doesn't do it for you, tell me, because you must find your way, not the way you think Lisa wants you to do. So I need you to think about that.
That's the thing, all I've got to do is try and do it.
I'm more the sort that would sit down and write, but I just see you needing to stand on beach your head, screaming your head off.
Writing, but I will give it a go.
So we've got breakfast.
To help the Bunyan and McArdle families address their children's eating problems, Tanya has set up a routine to reinforce the principle of set times for meals and snacks. Tanya also wants to introduce more of a variety to their diets.
Yeah. So this is apple. Can you pick one up for me, darling, please? And can you give it a kiss for me? Good girl. You have one of these for kissing the apple, and everybody give a big clap. Yeah.
The children will be rewarded with their favourite food if they try things that they would not normally eat.
Good girl. You're eating that because you kissed the apple. Very good. Very good girl. Now, Rosie, can you take another bit of apple for me? Right, can you put it on your tongue for me? That's it. Keep it in for a minute. And take it out. Good girl. Very good. So we'll take that. Can you see what we're doing?
Once Tanya has left the families, the Bunyans are the first to test her newly prescribed methods.
Yeah, eat it for me.
They're trying to get 2.5-year-old daughter Rosie to eat some apple by rewarding her with one of her favourite foods, toffee-coated popcorn.
I want you to put that on your tongue this time.
And when you put it on your tongue...
Go,
Go on, put it on your tongue. Go,
Why not?
Emily has. You ready? Can you do it? You've got a little clipboard.
Here you go, sweetie. Do you want to come round and see this? I don't want Emily to get involved in this too much because then it sets up some kind of dynamic between them. Right, how are we doing here?
No, it's not good.
It's not good?
Not good, no.
All right, well, it's first time.
Should we
She
try?
seemed to be doing all right, and then she suddenly stopped
Right,
again.
what have we got here? The thing is, the learning will come when she realises she's not going to get anything now until lunchtime. Yeah. Right. So, what's this? Right, what's this? Is it apple? Show me how you pick up an apple like a clever girl. Show me how you put it in your mouth like a clever... Whoopsie, that one jumped out of your fingers. Try again. Show me how you can pick it up. Do you want some popcorn, darling? OK, well then you pick up the apple. No. Do you want some popcorn, sweetie pie? Do you want popcorn or not? Because otherwise Mummy will put it in the bin. I'll just leave that near her, and then when she gets... OK, let's try over here. Come over here, sweetie. Look in the mirror with me. Let's have a look. Let's have a look, 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 look. On the floor, kneeling down. Hey, come and look. Come and look in the mirror. Is that a sad face? Let's do a happy face. Should we do a happy face? Or should we do a sticking our tongue out face?
Oh.
Or should we do a silly face? Ready? Do a silly face. Can you do that face?
What was that?
Do you think I'm a bit silly?
What was that?
That's called How to Terrify a Child.
OK.
Now, yesterday we did it with the yoghurt and the cucumber, so you just keep trying. Give it another 5 minutes. If she says no, she then has to see you take both these things and put them in the bin. And she has to be told there's no more snacks now until we have lunch. So I think I need to see a little bit more authority from you guys.
While the Bunyans work with Rosie, the McArdles are also trying Tanya's techniques on fussy eater Matthew. He'll be rewarded with his favourite shortbread for each piece of grape he picks up or puts in his mouth.
Just pick up the grape and put it in Daddy's hand.
Just pick one up.
Good boy.
Good boy.
Good boy.
Would you like one piece then?
Good boy.
There you go, take a piece.
Yay!
Good boy. Good boy.
Well done. Is that yummy? Good boy. Is it empty?
Show me your tongue.
Good boy.
Right, you pick one up and Daddy's going to pick one up. Do what Daddy does. No. No, do it again. Look, put it on your tongue. Put it on your tongue again. Look like Daddy has, look.
Mummy, do it too, look. Make him do it. See, like this.
Leave it on your tongue. Stick your tongue out. That's it.
Good boy.
There you go. Good boy. You're very clever. You are very
are
clever.
clever. Yep, you have... Sorry, Thomas isn't having it. No, no, no. You have to do something to get your shortbread. So you need to pick one up.
Matthew, no. Just put it in your mouth and you get some shortbread. OK, you just have some water then.
That's it then. Done, done.
OK, done. Good boy.
Good boy. Well done, Matthew. Can I give you a big cuddle for being a good boy? Well done. Very good boy.
How did that go?
Lick and a kiss. And it wouldn't quite put it in his mouth, but and it kind of broke down a little bit, so we just stopped it.
But did you stop on a high, saying well done?
Yes, yeah,
And
well, sort of, yeah. Well, we said well done, and then we tried again, and
You were clapping?
he started pushing
Yes,
it
I
away,
heard.
and then we stopped.
And what he did, is that quite new?
He's licked the skin of a fruit, you know, like the skin of an apple, but never the juice, you know.
Okay, so that was new.
Yeah.
So this is tiny steps.
And we've never done it in such small
bits. Yeah, because anxiety means we'll just shove the biggest piece we can into our child's mouth, and as a child you're thinking...
Should we read some of these books?
Yeah.
So it's all about just slowing down and taking it really, really slowly. Now, he doesn't eat anything now until lunchtime.
Yeah.
He drinks water.
Yeah.
Do you feel happy with the structure?
Yes.
Good.
Yeah,
all right.
brilliant.
Excellent. All right, I'll let you carry on.
He's got
no problem feeding.
No, he's fine.
Matthew? Is this Matthew?
Okay. Oh, hello.
The McArdles arrived yesterday with their son Matthew's eating problem, but you think it might be slightly more than that. How are they doing?
Good, on a level of connecting very much with what I'm saying and sort of techniques and thinking. I mean, fantastic. Yesterday, observation day, don't change anything you're doing. Last night, rapid returned Matthew all night. Really well, I've watched it back. So they've started treating themselves before I've even got involved. So, great. Technique, rapid return. We're doing the nice desensitisation to new foods, doing that really well. Looking unbelievably unhappy. Yeah. I think there are splits in the parenting of Angela and Mark that are very apparent to me. And I think that Matthew is really picking up on those and exploiting them, as little children do. And so, very used to getting his own way. So I think this is much more about their relationship as parents and their relationships with their son than technique.
So what are your plans then for the McArdles today?
I think really to get a handle on the, I suppose, the sadness and the split between them as a couple. Unless I understand that, and they understand that, and they understand how that is driving the way they're parenting their child, I think Matthew will continue to exploit that and will be very difficult to manage across the board, you know, night time, meal times, behaviour times, everything.
It's the second day in the House of Tiny Tearaways for this week's 3 families, and after an initial day of observation, Dr. Tanya Byron is helping the families to tackle their problems head-on. Emma and Jamie Fletcher and children Charlie and Maddie have come into the House of Tiny Tearaways for help with 3.5-year-old son Charlie's selective mutism. Although Charlie has given his family hope by speaking to other children in the house, the irregularity of his speech is still a cause for concern. The Bunyans have come to the House of Tiny Tearaways seeking help with youngest daughter Rosie's sugary diet. This sugar addiction is having a direct effect on her moods and energy levels, causing tantrums and bad behaviour. They've made small but significant progress already, but the family still has a long way to go. Angela and Mark McArdle are struggling to address 2.5-year-old son Matthew's poor diet and disruptive sleeping routine. Although Matthew slept in his own bed for the first time ever last night, he did wake frequently throughout. Tanya is concerned that he isn't getting enough sleep and that this may contribute to his fussy eating habits. Still to come.
I so resented Matthew because he'd taken my life away.
It's lunchtime in the House of Tiny Tearaways, and for the Bunyan family, it's usually a very stressful time getting 2.5-year-old Rosie to eat.
Have you seen these teeny weeny sandwiches that I made? How tiny are those? Can you give that a little kiss for me? And grapes.
Okay, just leave it there.
Give that a little kiss
got
for
any
me.
blackcurrant, sweetheart?
Oh, well done, Rosie.
That means you get some popcorn.
Well done, you.
How about...
Can you pick
You
something
bite the
up off
bread.
the thing?
No, sweetheart, you've had cravers.
You bite it.
Okay.
Good girl.
Well done, Rosie.
Clever girl. Yeah, you get that popcorn for that one, cherub.
What does it do?
Didn't see that coming. Didn't see that coming.
It's big lunchtime. What are you watching?
I can see a table where the parents are trying not to be anxious with their children, but actually there is a stiffness and anxiety around the table. And nobody's speaking.
Look, there's some more here, look.
Yeah, you can have a grape. No, it's gone. Blimey. Hold on a minute. That's a grape. That's a grape. Good girl. Good Lord.
Nice. Good girl.
Good girl, Rosie. She
Well, come on, guys. Don't look quite so anxious. Don't do that, Lisa. Look chilled.
Cheese. Pop a little bit of cheese in, and then you can eat your cereal. when he's born, when he's 3. Had enough now. You can eat that. It tastes really nice. In fact, I think there's some in there. You're eating it.
This is quite extraordinary.
They might help each other, these two families.
For me, the only problem with that is that I think that Mark and Angela are more anxious and less emotionally expressive than the Bunyans, who we can see over here, who are very emotionally expressive but managing their anxiety slightly better. So I just worry that Mark and Angela are going to suddenly perceive that their child is doing the least well, which will up their anxiety, which will increase his, and it'll halt progress. This is really about understanding why your child is doing what they're doing. Children are children, and they are responding to what they are experiencing in their families, in their relationships with their parent or their parents. It is up to us as the adults to take responsibility for our children and their behaviour and look at ourselves in terms of where it's come from, as much as learning new techniques to change the behaviour.
Charlie Fletcher is in the activity area decorating cards with the Bunyans and the McArdles.
This is for you. Thanks. Yeah. No, you can't draw. You can't put that. I did a special love heart. So go and give it to Mum or Dad.
Whilst Charlie and Emily play together, parents Jamie and Emma are in the consultation room with Tanya.
How are you feeling about being here?
Okay, to be honest, I think it's the right place to start.
I got to be honest, I feel really relaxed, which is surprising, you know.
Yes, yes. I think you do feel really relaxed, but I think you feel really stressed at times.
Yeah, I'm like that anyway, to be honest.
Right.
Sometimes with the kids.
And I just wanted to raise that with you because I wanted us to think about how far that would impact on what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
And how far that might be impacting on the family as a whole.
I know I'm an anxious person, and I'm, you know, I worry how the kids react in front of other people, and if I'm anxious and like that, I don't want that rubbing off on Charlie. You know, so I'm trying to relax more with him.
This is what we need to resolve first, because Charlie has to just feel that you and Jamie are chilled and you love him for who he is and how he is, because then it will resolve. Because children with selective mutism, they do speak, again, happily in social settings, but the more anxious everybody is around them, the longer it takes.
Yeah. I just feel guilty for all the times, you know, when we've shouted at him and, you know, and sometimes you turn around and you say, for God's sake, will you just be quiet for a minute? Do you know what I mean? Like you do with your kids, and then you think, God, is that why he's quiet now? You know, does he think he's got to be quiet?
I feel, you know, sometimes when we used to ask him to eat his tea and he wouldn't eat it, and then he'd go quiet, and, you know, you'd say, right then, you're going to eat that, and he wouldn't speak, and you'd lose your temper, like, you know, Charlie, you're going to eat it, you know, and he wouldn't answer.
Yeah,
I mean, this is before we knew. Yeah, we actually thought, you know, he's ignoring us to start with, and this stems back way before anything else.
Well, we've kind of got quite a few issues going on here then. We've got, number one, just the fact that you both feel guilty that maybe you created this problem and you've made the problem worse before you even realised what the problem was.
Yeah.
So although we're in the house here together and we're going to work really hard this week to try and really understand selective mutism, so you can leave here completely expert, completely sort of feeling in control, so you can then go out into the community, into the school, and help other people manage your son in a way that's going to help him learn to feel less anxious about speaking in public. So although that's the task, there is another kind of issue going on here, which is that you're both carrying this enormous kind of emotional weight about Charlie and his condition. And of course, from my point of view, I'm concerned that if you continue to feel that way, it's going to have a huge impact on the way you manage him. Because obviously, until you can both say, now we know it's mutism, we feel really guilty, but we didn't know it at the time, so we forgive ourselves, unless we can go through that cycle, your guilt is just going to squash straight into your interactions with Charlie, it's going to squash straight into Charlie, it's going to elevate Charlie's anxiety. He says nothing.
Yeah. I think we worry that the reason that we think we've caused it is because because of the bad year that we had.
Can you tell me a bit about it as much as you want to?
I had 2 nans die. Financially, you know, we were crippled, weren't we? And I suppose, yeah, it really was an unhappy house. And then, you know, Mum passed away, which was...
Your own mother?
Yeah, which was a shock.
Was it unexpected?
Yeah, I'd say.
Charlie was close to his grandmother, was he?
Yeah.
Right. How did you explain to him that she had gone?
We didn't.
You didn't tell Charlie?
He never asked. I don't think we could have explained to him, could we?
Have you said anything to him about where she is? Have you said...
I have since.
What have you said?
I mean, I'm only going back probably about a month ago. And I told him that you have still got Nanny Pat. I said, because she's magic now. I said, you can't see her. I said, because she's like magic fairy dust. I said, but she's always watching you. I said, if ever you need to talk to Nanny Pat, I said, whatever you say, she can hear you anyway. I said, but you just can't see her anymore. So, and he had a little smile on his face, but that was it. He goes off then, and that's it.
Hearing that his grandmother, who he loved, has gone, but not really knowing that she's really gone, so having this kind of half knowledge, and I understand why you said it like that, and actually what a beautiful description, but being told that she's magic fairy dust and he can talk to her and she will hear him, but actually she'll never answer and he'll never see her again. Maybe to some degree that confuses a little mind about communication and what communication is and where you can communicate. A lot of children are given explanations like that and they don't become selectively mute. It's not your fault. The overlay for me is that Charlie's got 2 parents who are emotionally exhausted and waiting for the next piece of...
Yeah.
Oh, God, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Is that the atmosphere then that's going to get him chatting away to the whole world?
Well, no, it's not.
It's about separating the issues out, but also understanding how they all link together to stop Charlie speaking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me just do a little bit of science with you, because I think that, in a sense, this is going to help you a lot. And I'm going to show you these. I'm going to ask you to take them outside, and tonight I'm going to ask you to teach the families in the house what I've worked with you on, because then you practice what you're going to do when you then leave this house, and you're going to tell the world and you're going to tell the school.
Yeah.
Okay? So, we know that selective mutism is caused by anxiety. It is a condition related to anxiety. It affects 1 in 1,000 children. So they will speak in places where they feel safe with you guys, and where they don't feel safe hearing their voice, the classroom, they won't. Charlie's fine to sit in the classroom, he's fine to use non-verbal communication, he's fine to play with the children in the playground and smile at them, but he's not fine to hear his voice in that context.
Yeah.
We're all agreed on that. Anxiety, therefore, for Charlie has stopped him talking in public.
Yeah.
Right. Now, he stops talking in public, everybody starts freaking out. And so here there starts to get some pressure from family and teachers. What's your name? Can you just tell me your name? What's that? Come on, you said that to me yesterday. Can you, what's this? Come on. Okay, I won't look, don't, okay. Yeah?
Yeah.
Because you love him. That pressure increases his anxiety.
Yeah.
He stops talking more.
Yeah.
And you get a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
So what do we have to do? We have to deal with this.
Yeah.
I'm going to help Charlie deal with his. We have to deal with ours first.
Yeah.
So Charlie has to feel that we love him, whatever he does, whatever he says, whenever he says it, and we're not really bothered whether he says it or he doesn't say it.
Yeah.
Because the less you do, the more he'll do. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got to be honest, yeah.
But I suppose the big thing that we've got out of this is what needs to happen with the 2 of you in order for Charlie to begin to feel that he can talk in public more freely.
Chill out.
You need to chill out.
I need to, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how are you going to do that?
I don't know. To be honest, I don't know yet.
Well, maybe that's our big task for this week.
Yeah.
It's raining outside, so the children are playing indoors.
making sandwiches.
While Matthew is playing with the other families, Angela and Mark are in the consultation room with Tanya.
Child has a problem. Sitting with the two of you is a bit like what it's like watching the two of you in the house. It makes me feel quite stressed. It makes me feel quite stressed.
We fight over what we're trying to say.
No, actually.
We're uptight, is that what you're saying?
Very.
Yeah.
Hugely uptight. I mean, just describe to me briefly what your kind of careers have been.
It's all just been numbers and figures and charts and models and analysis and all that.
And you've also come from a background of sort of business background, a sort of computing background. I just worry that Matthew is in here as a project that has to be analysed by the expert. I have to give you back the figures that you understand. You then have to put, and he has to perform. He has to perform. Kids are like unpredictable, completely challenging, and incredibly mischievous at times. But I think rather than bringing you joy, that's brought you stress and heartache, because Matthew hasn't sort of fitted into the kind of chunk, 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 chunk running of your life, where it seems to me you're both so busy, everything has to kind of happen like that.
Yeah, it does happen like that. When I first had Matthew, because I didn't plan to have him, I went from this really busy, important job, leading a team of people and being somebody, to sort of being a mother.
Is that nobody?
With nobody, yeah, with no life and not really knowing, not even having friends in the same place. And all your old friends don't want to know you anymore and aren't interested.
Angela was pregnant after we'd known each other for 4 months. He was £9.3, born by caesarean section. I was commuting to London from Aberdeen, flying away on a Monday morning, 5 days work, flying back on a Friday night, leaving Angela with a caesarean section to recover from and a baby on her own. It wasn't that we were just getting used to having a baby, we were getting used to each other, getting used to living together.
You hadn't had time as a couple, really?
No.
So how far do you think the fact that you didn't have much time to get to know each other as a couple means that it's quite difficult for you to define who you are as parents?
I think it's quite a big thing.
Right. Massive.
Because we got to know each other for fun for 3 months, and then it's bang, parenting.
When you found out you were pregnant with Matthew, did you straight away think, right, we're going to keep him?
No.
Well,
your first words to me.
Yeah, no.
And you don't want me to say this, but your first words were...
Knee-jerk reaction.
We're going to get rid of this, aren't we?
Knee-jerk reaction, 24 years old, guy in London, just met a girl who tells her she's pregnant. So my response was, oh my God.
You're going to get rid of this, aren't you?
But then it was within 24 hours when we'd actually cooled down and spoken about it that we decided it was you know, it was great. It was great news, and we were really happy with the way things were going, so we felt we could take that leap.
You like to be in control. His conception, his birth, his post-birth, and his continued post-birth up until very recently have been at times when you have felt completely out of control. Matthew symbolises feeling out of control.
Yeah.
So when Matthew behaves like any regular 2.5-year-old does, you're both...
Yeah.
He senses that. What happens to his behaviour?
Goes worse.
Yeah. His behaviour is related much more to his emotional state than to his behavioural state. And that, I think, has made you feel quite sad.
Yes, it has.
Yeah.
And I think it's made you feel sad too.
Well, yeah, but I'm fascinated with what you're saying, and I follow it completely. And
I'm upset.
Talk about it.
Just that he's sad. I feel like a right bless.
So
and
I think you're just blaming yourself. It's not.
No, it's not. It's just that he's sad and we haven't seen it.
I guess so.
His perception of the atmosphere in the family would be
quite a rowing mum and dad, I think.
If you were to live in that atmosphere, what would you do?
Probably scream to get attention. Or to get the attention off the fighting, perhaps.
Or just show that it's really, really...
bugging me.
Yeah. Now, let me just take you very briefly through where we're up to now, just to put some of this in context. Yeah. I want to play you a clip. This is a meal time.
What have you got here? What's that? What's this? What is it? Will you pick them up? Will you pick them up for me? Just try this for Daddy. Try this for Daddy. Try it for Daddy. Will you just put it on your tongue?
You can just see there's absolutely no chance.
You can just see her eyes going. Try one piece of this and I'll give you this. One piece. Will you try this for me?
Go on then, eat your garlic bread.
Ice cold.
Oh, we're all really, really hacked off.
Really.
Right, okay.
Okay, we'll be different tonight.
Yeah, we'll do it all differently.
Yeah,
Okay.
Right, so tonight we're going to change the agenda. We're going to rewrite the business plan and we're going to chill.
No, yeah.
We're just going to chill.
It's dinner time, and following their consultation, the McArdles are trying to make the meal a more relaxed experience for them all.
Do you know what I would really like, though? I'd really like you to eat all your dinner up in your tum-tum.
Thomas, stop looking at your brother. Oh.
Can you give that strawberry a quick kiss as well?
No.
So Matthew,
That's your one.
do you like the fire engine then? Do you like that fire engine?
Yeah.
What does the fire engine say?
Nino.
Nino, Nino.
I got the ladder.
And you go up a ladder. And what do you do
Do
once
you?
what do you do once you got the ladder?
I don't know.
Well, you use a hose and some water, don't you?
I got it and all the out.
And what noise is a hose make?
Hello, little girl. Did you eat your dinner tonight?
Matthew, will you kiss one of those strawberries for Daddy?
No.
Can you just kiss it?
No.
No? Oh, okay.
It's bedtime in the House of Tiny Tearaways.
Okay, then come on, dummy blanket, nice. Love you. Maddie, love you. Catch. Good night. I got it.
When sheep sit on the grass, their bottoms go bright green. A bubble bath with bubbly bars makes their bottoms clean.
Wishes don't always come true straight away, said Mum. Sometimes we have to wait.
Tanya believes that Matthew McArdle's eating problem may be related to his sleeping issues, and so bedtimes are crucial for the family. Last night, he had to be returned to bed 10 times before he settled. Now that all the children are asleep, Tanya has gathered all the parents in the lounge to discuss Charlie Fletcher's selective mutism.
What I want to do is show you 3 clips of Charlie today, because what we really need to do with Charlie is we need to understand Charlie's rules of communication. Because once we understand his rules of communication, we can start to work with him And we can work with where he feels strong and use those skills to help support him with where he feels difficulty in communicating. This first one is an example of an environment in which Charlie doesn't speak.
Ready? Can you catch? I'm going to bounce it. Ready? Oh! Good boy. Hang on, hang on. Matthew. Come on, guys, quick. Matthew, Charlie's going to give it to Rosie. Not going to take it off each other, are we? Yeah, come on, up we go. Come on then, Poppet.
Poor Charlie. But Charlie's actually okay there. He's all right there. And I think it's important to say that Charlie does really well at school. He's extremely popular.
Yeah.
But he never speaks. As soon as there's an expectation on him to perform in a particular way, he stops talking. And I think that's where we understand the complete non-communication. That's when the anxiety comes in. If I can't do it, I won't do it. So that's a situation where he doesn't speak. Now we're going to look at a situation where he does speak, but listen to the kind of speech he's using. It's really interesting.
Why not? Rosie, no.
If you shut your eyes, that could be Maddie speaking.
Right. Now, that is a really, really important point. If you shut your eyes, that could be Maddie speaking. So we have a situation where he doesn't speak, and then we have situations where he does speak, but his speech is totally regressed.
Yeah.
Now, in that situation, he wanted to initiate play with you, Pete, didn't he? But instead of saying, oh, Pete, will you play with the ball with me? He made eye contact with you, but all he could get out was the word ball. And the problem for kids like Charlie, who are selectively mute, is as soon as they utter a single word, everybody kind of swoops down like a flock of birds. Speak, 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 speak. His
That's
anxiety
the last thing you
goes...
should do, is it? Yeah.
And he's like, shh.
It's so hard not to, you know, I mean...
Of course,
you know,
and particularly when it's your child.
Yeah.
We all relate to that, but what we've all got to do is step back and not load him with expectation. Because when you don't do that, this is what you get. And this, for me, was one of the most moving moments of today. And the whole thing is just gentle and natural.
I have lots because I need them all. Just one. You haven't been really talking for a long time, have you? Are you liking talking? Oh no, he's late for that. Doesn't matter. I can fix it. A sausage. You silly.
Tell me what was so great for you there, because that has been quite a big moment for you, hasn't it?
To see that, you know, and I mean that's just I mean we've been here like 5 minutes, you know, and he's chose, you know, maybe just one person who he feels he can speak to. If I can see him talk to like Emily,
that's hope.
Definitely, yeah, you know,
that's hope. Yeah.
That's a first stepping stone to like, you know, it really is like a big move, you know, forward.
And if we can do this today, goodness, what will we achieve tomorrow? It's great.
Yeah. Thanks very much.
Yeah,
Thanks so much.
My pleasure.
Half an hour later and the parents are still sitting on the sofas.
I literally lost all my friends because living in London and having single friends, as soon as you move away out of London, nobody gives who you are or what you've done. Nope. You know, nobody wants to keep in contact with you. You know, you're forgotten within 5 minutes. So I sort of lost my whole life, really.
Identity's gone, isn't it?
Yeah.
What the life you've made for yourself.
Yeah. And then we had Matthew and really struggled to cope with being a relatively young mum that didn't really ask to be a mum, if that makes sense, with a bloke that I hadn't really known that long, who wasn't even there during the week. So I think Mark said at the time, I think you're depressed, and I would laugh at you if you'd suggested that, but now that I'm actually thinking about it, I so resented Matthew because he'd taken my life away, if that makes sense. And I didn't know, I mean, I coped and didn't say anything at all, but...
It's Matthew.
You want to do it. But now I understand that we're basically associating all the bad stuff with Matthew. She said when you're with Thomas, you're absolutely fine and you're smiling and you're happy and there's no anxiety and, you know, you're fine. But as soon as you're around Matthew, the pair of you are all like...
Did that upset you hearing that?
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Didn't upset Mark, but it really upset me.
Yeah.
Coming up tomorrow.
What was it like when Rosie was a baby?
She had blood in her eyes.
That's shocking.